A man walks into a crowded bar with a pet alligator in a cage. This, of course, gets everyone's attention, including the bartenders. The guy orders a drink, and as he is drinking it, the bartender, full of curiosity, says, "What's with the alligator?" The man replies, "It's a special alligator. It can do tricks." "What kind of tricks?" asks the bartender. "I'll show you," says the man. He then opens the cage, and the alligator comes waltzing out casually. The man then flicks the alligator's nose, and the gator responds by opening his mouth wide. "All right," says the man. "I bet you 2 drinks that I can put my penis in this gator's mouth for a full 2 minutes without losing it." The bartender chuckles and says, "You're on." The man then pulls down his pants and sticks his dick into the gator's mouth. Surprisingly, for a full 2 minutes, the gator does not close his mouth on his dick. The man then takes his dick out, pulls his pants back up, and the whole bar starts clapping. Before he collects his prize of 2 drinks, he asks the rest of the bar who else would like to try it. A man then raised his hand and yelled, "I would." The man invites the second man over, and then the second man goes, "Just a fair warning, I don't know if I can keep my mouth open that long." A man gets onto a city bus, and as he tries to find a seat, he sees a really attractive woman. He attempts to hit on her, but the woman rejects him. The man then goes to sit in the back of the bus. When the bus gets to his destination and the man is about to exit, the bus driver whispers, "Hey, I know how you can have sex with that woman. She's a very religious woman, and every Sunday evening she goes to the cemetery to pray to God. All you have to do is dress up as God, approach her in the cemetery, and say that all her sins will be forgiven if she has sex with you." At first the man thought it was too evil of a scheme, but he was really turned on by her, so he did as the bus driver suggested and went to buy a God costume. He then went to the cemetery on Sunday evening and waited, hidden out of sight. Sure enough, the woman showed up to pray to God. After her prayer was done, the man, now dressed up as God, revealed himself and shouted, "I am God, and I have heard your prayer. I am here to tell you that I am willing to forgive you of all your sins, but only if you agree to have sex with me." The woman was shocked, but then responded, "Okay, but if you don't mind, I would like to remain abstinent. Can it be anal sex?" The man thought about it and says, "Yes, that will be fine, as long as it pleases your heavenly Father." So the man fucks her anally for a good hour or so. After this, the man becomes extremely aroused and starts to get cocky, so without thinking, he took off his mask in front of her and yelled, "Ha! Gotcha, bitch! It was me the whole time." The woman looked at him and then laughed. "Wait, what's so funny?" the man shouted. Then surprisingly, the woman then takes off her mask. "Gotcha, bitch! It was me the whole time!" yells the bus driver. A bunny rabbit is hopping through the woods one day, feeling happy and free. After a bit, he comes across a fox, who is hitting a bong. The bunny is shocked. "Why, Mr. Fox, why are you doing drugs? You know how bad that is for you. Why don't you join me as we prance through the woods? You'll see that it's much better than filling your lungs with that." The fox thinks for a moment, then tosses the bong and follows the bunny as they prance through the woods. After a bit, they come across a deer, who is rolling a joint of marijuana. The rabbit is shocked and says, "Why, Mr. Buck, why are you doing drugs? You know how bad that is for you. Come join me and Mr. Fox on a prance through the woods. You'll see that it's a lot better than clouding your brain with that." The deer thinks for a moment, then tosses the blunt and joins the 2 animals as they prance through the woods. After a bit, they all come across a grizzly bear, who is about to inject himself with heroin. The bunny is shocked and says, "Why, Mr. Grizzly, why are you doing—" The bear suddenly rips the rabbit to pieces. The other animals are shocked at this. "Why did you do that?" asked the fox. "Because," replied the bear, "that little bastard is always hitting me with a whip whenever he's on ecstasy." There is an incredibly long line in front of the pearly gates. St. Peter announces that since there are so many people, they have agreed to let anyone into the kingdom of heaven if the story of how they died is good enough. Now in front of the line there are 3 men. The first 2 are fully clothed, and the third one is naked. The first man walks up and St. Peter asks, "How'd you die?" He replies, "Well, it all started on Monday morning. I was extremely suspicious that my wife was cheating on me with another man. So I told my wife that I was off to work, but then I came back to the house just 10 minutes after I walked out to see if I could catch her in the act. After searching for some time, I discovered a man dangling from my upstairs balcony. I caught the son of a bitch. I grabbed my knife out of my special cabinet, ran onto the balcony, and stabbed the man's fingers 100 times until he fell. I saw that the man was still alive down there, so I quickly ran into the kitchen and came charging back to the balcony with my refrigerator. I threw the fridge on top of him and it killed him instantly. At first I felt victorious, but then I thought to myself, oh my god, I just killed a man. I can't live my life knowing I did such a thing. Plus the cops will catch me for sure. So I took out a pistol and shot myself in the head, and here I am. St. Peter was quite shocked and said, wow, what a way to go. You may enter. He does so, and then the second man walks up to the gate. How did you die? Asked Peter. Well, said the second man, I was riding my bike down the street when suddenly a car was about to hit me. I couldn't swerve out of the way in time, and it came into contact with me. Somehow I went flying into the air on impact. I was praying that the fall from this great height I was now at wouldn't kill me. And sure enough, my prayers were answered when I was able to cling onto a balcony which saved my life. I was relieved for about a few seconds, but then all of a sudden, I saw this madman run up to me and stab my fingers 100 times with a knife until I couldn't hold on no more and I fell off. The fall didn't kill me, thankfully, but then I look up and I see a refrigerator falling on top of me. That's all I can remember. St. Peter looked even more shocked this time. Oh, you poor soul! You may go in. The second man happily does so, and now it's the naked third man's turn. How'd you die? Asked Peter. Well, says the third man, I was hiding in a married man's refrigerator. Little Red Riding Hood was skipping through the forest when she notices that sitting in some tall grass was a wolf. She stared at the wolf for a bit, and the wolf did the same. Then Red yelled, Hello, wolf! Wow, what big ears you have! The wolf then gave her a killer look and then ran deeper into the forest. Red paid it no mind and kept traveling. After about a mile or so, she noticed the wolf again, this time with his head poking out of a bush. They stared at each other for another minute, and then Red yells, Hello, wolf! Wow, what big teeth you have! The wolf gives her another angry look, growls, then disappears into the forest again. Red thought the wolf was being rather rude, but paid it no mind once again and kept walking. After another mile or so, she noticed the wolf yet again. This time he was behind a tree stump. They stared at each other for another minute, and then Red yells, Hello, wolf! Wow, what a big nose you have! The wolf gives yet another angry look, and this time he snarls. Red gets mad at this and shrieks, You know, you're very rude. I was just greeting you and noticing your facial features is all. Why do you always growl at me? The wolf then replies, 'Cause I'm trying to take a dump, bitch. 3 gay men all lost their husbands in a plane crash. Their bodies were able to be recovered, and they were cremated according to their wills. The 3 men all gathered together with their urns, deciding what to do with the ashes. The first guy says, My husband sure loved planes. Perhaps I'll fly up in a plane and scatter his ashes across the sky. The second guy says, My husband sure loved to fish. Perhaps I'll scatter his ashes in his favorite fishing lake. The third guy says, My husband always enjoyed making love to me. Perhaps I'll mix his ashes in some chili and then eat it. The other gay men asked him why, and he says, So he can tear through my asshole one last time. A nun and a priest were playing on a mini golf course. When they get to the first hole, the nun gets a hole-in-one. The priest was about to get a hole-in-one, but he just missed it. Angrily, he yells, "Aw, shit, I missed." The nun then says, "Sir, you really shouldn't talk like that. God will strike you down if you do." "Oh, rubbish," says the priest. When they get to the 10th hole, the nun gets a hole-in-one again. The priest was about to as well, but just missed it. He yells, "Aw, shit, I missed." The nun says, "Sir, please, if you don't want God to strike you down, stop saying that word." "Oh, nonsense," says the priest. When they arrive at the 18th and final hole, the nun once again gets a hole-in-one. The priest was about to as well, but just misses it. He screams, "Aw, shit, I missed!" Sure enough, God came down from the heavens with a lightning bolt in his hand. He is about to hurl it at the priest, but accidentally hits the nun instead. Afterwards, God angrily yells, "Aw, shit, I missed." A rich man suddenly finds himself in debt, so he goes home to his wife, and they discuss ways they can save money in these tough times. After thinking for a bit, the man chuckles and says, "You know, if you learned how to cook, we could fire the chef." Instead of being upset, the wife giggles and replies, "Yeah, and if you could learn to fuck, we could fire the mailman." A man goes to a pet store looking for a new companion. Eventually, he comes across a fascinating sight: a parrot with no legs. And despite his handicap, he is able to hang onto his perch with his penis. The parrot greets him in a friendly tone as well as in very fluent English. The man is instantly taken by him, so he purchases the parrot and brings it home. He introduces the parrot to his wife, and the parrot was very polite to her. Things were going very well. Then one day, the man came home from work. His wife was not yet home. He goes into his bedroom, and then the parrot starts squawking out of control. The man runs up to him. "What is it?" he asks. "Brock, man came to visit your wife." "Yes, and?" "Brock, then he took off his clothes." "Oh, God, and then what?" "Brock, your wife smiled and took off her clothes." "Oh, God, then what?" "Brock, I fell off my perch." Little Johnny is sitting at the dinner table with his parents when he suddenly asks, "Mom, Dad, what is a bitch?" The parents are shocked and look at each other for a minute before saying, "Oh, that's just a word used for girls." "Okay," says Johnny. That night after his bedtime, Johnny gets up to get a glass of water when he overhears his parents sneaking into their bedroom quietly and his dad asking, "Hey honey, where are my condoms?" Johnny surprises them by asking, "What are condoms?" The father, completely off guard and trying to find an answer quick, replies, "It's another word for jackets." "Okay," says Johnny. The next day when Johnny gets home from school, his dad tells him that his boss and his boss's wife are coming over for dinner and asked him to be the doorman. Johnny agrees. He goes upstairs and sees that his parents' bedroom door is open and his mom is putting on makeup. She accidentally knocks the makeup onto the floor and yells, "Shit!" Johnny surprises her by asking, "Mom, what is shit?" The mom, completely off guard, quickly responds, "It means makeup, dear." "Okay," replies Johnny. He then goes downstairs where he smells turkey that his dad is preparing. He sees his dad accidentally burn his hand and he yells, "Fuck!" Johnny surprises him by asking, "What does fuck mean?" His dad quickly responds, "It means to cook." All of a sudden the doorbell rings. "Oh, that's probably my boss and his wife. Johnny, you know what to do, right?" Johnny nods and runs over to the door. He opens it and his dad's boss and his wife is standing there. The wife smiles and says, "Well, hello there, young man." Johnny then replies, "Hello, bitch. If you would let me take your condoms, my parents will be down shortly. My mom is putting shit on her face and my dad is fucking the turkey."